Hey everyone, welcome to today's webinar. We're so happy you're here with us today. Thanks for being here and taking the time out of your day. We are here to talk about some really big changes on the Amazon FBA front. So before we get started, I'm just going to talk about a couple of quick housekeeping items. The session is being recorded. We will send it out after the session in the next couple of days. If you want to share it with a colleague or if you have to step out really quick, no worries, we've got you covered. The last thing I want to cover is the buttons in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. We have a chat button and a questions button. Feel free to use either if you want to ask a question or engage in the conversation. We'll be answering questions in those little panels as we go through the session. So with that, I'm going to get us started, and here's just a quick look at what we're going to talk through today. Next slide, please. Thanks. So we're going to talk about what's changing. There's a lot of news flying around. We're going to talk about what this actually means. We're going to talk about what your options are for next steps, risks that you should consider when thinking about your next steps. We'll talk about the advantages of using a 3PL. We'll also talk about some hybrid solutions that you might want to consider. And then we'll start to look a little bit future forward here. What are some strategic alternatives? And then we'll talk through a readiness checklist, which are the steps that you need to go through to make sure that you are prepared for this transition. So I am your host today. My name is Mary Kate Cash. I am the head of partner marketing at Wayflyer. I have been in the software and tech world for, over a decade, we'll say. And I am here to guide us through this conversation with Brooks from Qualphone, and I will let him introduce himself.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me here. My name is Brooks Golba, and I am the VP of Fulfillment and Logistics Solutions at Qualphone. In a nutshell, I help our Amazon brands and direct-to-consumer fulfillment brands excel at what they do. And with the news that has recently been announced by Amazon, I thought this was a great time to share what we know and how we feel we can help brands make strategic decisions as they move forward into 2026.
Yeah, this is huge news. So we're so happy that you can be here with us and are grateful for sharing your expertise. So before we get into the core of this presentation, which I'm sure is why everybody is here, we just want to talk a little bit about who we are and why we're having this conversation. Wayflyer is financing. We offer financing for growing brands. We are purpose built. It's our expertise. Our core values are about being fast and hassle free and flexible. We are not secured, so you don't have to put up any collateral. You can get capital in as little as 24 hours if you are running low on inventory, or if you want to have a big marketing push, or maybe you're going viral on TikTok or something like that. That capital is money in your pocket for you to be able to capitalize on those critical growth moments. And we have no spend restrictions. So you can spend the money where you see it's going to have the most impact.
And I'll go into what Qualphone, who we are. Qualphone is a global BPO and a fulfillment solutions provider. We run a US fulfillment network built for e-commerce and Amazon sellers. We have 40 years of experience, and we handle everything from FBA prep to compliance, subscription box kitting, e-commerce order fulfillment, reverse logistics, and multi-channel shipping. And inside of that, we have a team who specifically has Amazon forward customer service and direct to consumer customer service. So we can handle both of those needs and across really any marketplace you guys have.
All right, let's talk about the big reason why we're here.
Yeah. So as I'm sure everyone on this call has heard, the big news is Amazon has announced they're no longer going to be handling FBA prep starting January 1st, 2026. And what I want to go through today is one, what happened in as plain English as possible, what it means for brands, and how we can help you guys. Amazon makes some things sometimes confusing, and you need to understand terms like induction times, buy box, SPD, LTL, SFP. And I want to go through those terms so you, as the brand, can make sure you're making the best decision going forward. And now, what this means. So what exactly Amazon will be doing is, in the past, Amazon would, if they received your product, they could, one, be your FBA prep provider, so they could apply FN SKU labels. They could bag or bubble wrap your items. They would bundle multi-packs. They would package fragile items together. This was never free, as you guys know, but now that service goes away entirely on January 1st, 2026. After January 1st, Amazon will no longer provide any of those services. And the real kicker, I think, in all of this is that historically, if you sent something to Amazon and it was mislabeled or had something small wrong with it, Amazon would fix that quietly for a fee. Your products would never leave the FC, and it would just get entered like normal. Starting January 1st, 2026, if something is wrong, they're going to reject the shipment entirely. And the onus is on the brand or the brand's 3PL to get the product back, reprep, reship, and move it back to Amazon. So this is a compounding effect for brands. If something small is wrong, you used to have the safety net. Now that is gone entirely.
It's kind of crazy that they're making all of these changes and on a fairly short timeline.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's brains are jumping to, what do I do? What are my options? How do I move forward from this? So talk us through what the options are on the table.
Yeah, of course. And it's crazy, but Amazon makes changes like this all the time. So I think the vigilance in making your decisions is really important. And for brands, there's two options that most brands are probably already leveraging. Either they are managing their prep in-house. They have a warehouse. They control everything, but they control the labor, the space, and the equipment. And an in-house fulfillment is probably best fit for an enterprise seller, someone who has the capital to not worry about small margin things happening. Like, if something goes wrong, it's okay to, cash flow isn't an option. It isn't a problem. In For smaller brands, cash flow is the most important thing. Hey, it's why is Wayflyer a company? Cash flow help get these brands the things that they need. The other option is outsourcing to a 3PL. 3PLs are scalable. You don't handle the labor. They specialize in Amazon prep. They are compliance experts. And if something goes wrong, it's not on your dime, it's on theirs. They will manage it. They will reprep it, reship it, not on the brand. And working with a 3PL gives you optionality to route smarter to minimize Amazon's placement fees. And we'll get into what those are a little later on, but it's a smart option to save margin. There's a trade-off with both, and we'll get into kind of what the risks are down the line. But as we know, there's two options for brands. It's keeping it in-house, or it's outsourcing to a 3PL.
Sure. And as you mentioned, there's pros and cons to both. There is no one size fits all solution, and there probably is no perfect solution for any
Yeah.
one brand. You're gonna, like you said, like maybe miss some in the margins, but like maybe you're big enough to not need to worry about that. So, what are the risks when it comes to both of these options?
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out within the risks, there is a lot of verbiage around things Amazon says that we need to understand. So before we go into the deep risks, I want to explain what the terms even mean. So as we know, an FC is a Amazon fulfillment center. That's where your products go. We talked about induction time earlier. Induction time is the period from when your shipment arrives at an FC, the Amazon facility, and gets scanned into the system. Think of it like your products are sitting at the front door, but they haven't been inside yet. Um, and the risks around all of this is if you're a in-house operation, it is hard to get your induction time to be shorter because a 3PL has multiple brands and multiple products fully in a pallet, in a trailer, and it gets dropped off. They have live unload times and can get things immediately inside. As a singular brand running an in-house fulfillment operation, it's hard to secure live unloads. And the risk being, especially during a peak season, your products in FBA can sit for 7 to 14 days without ever being unloaded. And it's something that is hard to get around unless you're working with a 3PL. And something that has really happened this year is that Amazon's always had placement service fees. So when you're getting into a FC, you're getting, and it's moving around, you're getting charged a fee. But now placement fees are going up again in 2026. So it's going to be even more costly to send things directly to an FC. And as Amazon disperses your product, every place it goes to, you're going to be charged a fee on that.
It's a lot of added costs,
Yeah.
and you are getting economies of scale with a 3PL, but that costs more money. Let's talk about all of the advantages of going with a 3PL and what you're going to get with those economies of scale.
Yeah. Working with 3PL, obviously what you see on screen are the key advantages, but if you dig a little deeper, I think the most important things are compliance. A good 3PL gets the prep right the first time. And as we talked about earlier, if something's non-compliant, it's a 30-day mistake that you're not going to have your items in FBA. A good 3PL, one, will make sure your things are prepped properly. And as we go into the next level, I talked about live unloads last slide. Live unloading is the key to getting your products in the Amazon system as quickly as possible. A good 3PL will be able to secure 24-hour unload times. That means your products are sent to the Amazon FC, and within 24 hours, your products are live on FBA. And that's really important. You want the Prime badge. The Prime badge is just really important. And if it's not in stock, it's not going to be there. Routing and placement fees are another thing that's really important. When you're working with a 3PL, especially one that's of good scale, they have multinodal routing. So they have warehouses across the United States where the shipment times take less, it costs less, and you will get around placement fees. That's really important as we think about the compounding costs and how things add up. Um, and then working at 3PL, of course, the labor element is important, but 3PLs can have value added services, kitting, bundling, returns management, things Amazon used to do and many brands don't want to do in-house. A 3PL can cover those gaps. So the difference is induction delays are going to always be a problem, but with a 3PL, it can shorten the delays, it can lower the costs, and it can keep you cash flow positive. Um, by not having to manage the labor and everything else that goes into it when you're managing it yourself.
So we've talked about the two options. There actually is a surprise third option on the table, which is a hybrid model. And, as somebody who's not an Amazon brand, this sounds complicated, but I think there are a lot of benefits to this. And so talk us through why this is maybe not so scary and what brands could gain from using a hybrid model.
Yeah. And a hybrid fulfillment model is something that a successful brand is operating. Um, FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, is still the best path forward for fast moving products. The Prime badge, 2-day shipping, buy box priority conversions. But it comes with fees, storage costs, and induction risk. As you think about other ways to get your products into Amazon, there are a few. FBM. So FBM is fulfilled by the merchant, and you or your 3PL directly ship to the customers. And it was designed for slower moving SKUs or oversized items because you avoid FBA storage fees and placement fees, but there's no Prime badge. But I think of FBM more as something you can turn on if there is an issue with your FBA. Let's say something goes wrong and it's in peak season and your FBA products are not going to be there for 30 days. By working with a 3PL and having FBM live, you are still going to be able to be live on Amazon. And it's a stopgap to make sure that you have something being sold if something goes wrong. And it can be used for slow movers, but I like to think of FBM more as a stopgap, a risk management system that will help you always have something being sold. With Seller Fulfilled Prime, this has been something that has been kind of turned off and turned on by Amazon over the course of 10 years. It's back now, but it is a interesting middle ground. With Seller Fulfilled Prime, you keep the Prime badge, but you or the 3PL handles the shipping yourself. Amazon has very stringent requirements on using Seller Fulfilled Prime, because if you have the Prime badge, the consumer's expectations is I'm going to have it in 2 days. So if a brand or a 3PL takes ownership of that, they've got to have almost a 100% on-time performance, nationwide coverage. And the only real way you could operate Seller Fulfilled Prime is if you're working with a 3PL that has nationwide coverage. A hybrid model works because it reduces your dependency on FBA. If Amazon induction slows down during peak season, you have a backup, you have FBM. It lowers costs on SKUs. It gives you flexibility to respond to fee changes. As we've seen in 2025, there's been a ton of policy shifts by our governments that have affected things in different ways. If you're diversified and have things on FBA, you have backup on FBM, you have your slower movers on SFP, you have a diversified model that can help you balance control and margin. That is just something that's really important as we move forward into the 2026 and how the e-commerce world is evolving.
Okay,
Sorry, that was a lot of information.
No, it's all super helpful. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the strategic alternatives and maybe like a little bit future forward. What are other options outside of Amazon?
Yeah. So we talked about FBM on the last one. Again, think of it as a way to have a stopgap for FBA or to sell slower moving SKUs. Seller Fulfilled Prime, again, think of it as a way to keep your Prime badge conversion, but not paying the FBA fees. And as we think beyond Amazon, this has been the year of marketplaces. A lot of marketplaces are launching. Think Walmart, Best Buy. As we know, TikTok Shop is the place for viral moments. I mean, thousands and thousands of orders can go off of one TikTok viral video. And Temu has changed the way that they're selling. Um, Over the past 12 months, their average order value has gone up $15. And they're offering really great uh, seller incentives to sell on their marketplaces. Now, I'm not saying pull things off Amazon. I'm just suggesting that there are ways to diversify that gives you protection and potentially more cash flow. Put a few SKUs on TikTok Shop, see how it goes. Put something on Temu, see if it goes viral. You don't know. I just think diversification is really really important. And as marketplaces are launching, you don't know how they're going to be received by the consumers. So it's just good to keep your eyes open to what can happen.
Yeah, always good to test and diversify and just see what sticks. You never know. There's different audiences that use different marketplaces, and one could surprise you.
Yeah.
I think is one of the most important parts of this webinar is how, as a brand, do you make sure that you are ready for this transition?
Yeah, this is the most important part. When these changes go into effect on January 1st, you have to be ready. So this is going to be a checklist that I would start working on today to make sure you are prepared. Um, Build a compliance plan for once Amazon stops offering in 2026. If you're working with a consultant or a 3PL, they're going to know exactly what you need to do. If you think I'm going to manage this in house and see how it goes, make sure you are understanding the compliance around how things need to get inducted into Amazon. Um, I would say to right now, start tracking your induction times. See how long it takes for things to go from your warehouse or your 3PL's warehouse to go live once they arrive on Amazon. As we build back into peak season now and all the changes that are happening, it's going to be really good to understand how long things are taking so you can be prepared. Um, think about a hybrid model. That's something that's important. Do all my SKUs really belong in FBA? Should I move things to FBM? Should I try Seller Fulfilled Prime? Think about it. Work with a consultant, work with your product team, see what they think, see how things are selling. It could be a good way to save cash, especially on a trial run with specific SKUs. Um, Evaluate your current 3PL partner or look at 3PL partners. Specific ones have their Amazon experience is why you'd work with them. They are prep shops. They know how to manage this. They're already doing it. And with the changes that are coming right now, they will be prepared to make sure you are hitting at scale, avoiding your placement fees, having live unloads. That is why I would evaluate at least how things are going now through 3PL and look onwards. Consider diversification. We kind of talked about with the hybrid model, but have conversations with some of the other marketplaces, see what they're saying. I don't work for them. I don't know, but I think there could be value in at least trying things with a few SKUs. And revisit cost to serve models, test other marketplaces, just make sure that you are diversified and ready to go when these changes come so you can not only grow, but be prepared for the future.
It's a great checklist. I think brands will find it very valuable. In our parting words, since we have reached the end of this webinar, if you're interested in checking out different options, there are likely costs involved, and Wayflyer is here to help support you in those changes to help you finance a move to a 3PL or to build out some of these hybrid models or to just help with the increased costs of not having these Amazon prep services. So give us a shout at wayflyer.com. We'll also be following up with the recording after this session. So feel free to just reply to our emails there if you're interested in learning more. And any parting words from you, Brooks?
I would just say that we're at an inflection point in the e-commerce world. Uh, be prepared for more changes. Just as quickly as Amazon said they're not going to they're going to stop prep in 2026. it wouldn't shock me if they're back live in 2027. So work with consultants, work with your team to understand how you'll be best served in the future. Reach out to me. This is what I do. I would love to have conversations with more brands about not how just our company can assist you, but just be a sounding board for what you need to be successful in 2026. So thank you everyone, and I really really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. What a treat it is to have a real expert to talk about these changes and what they mean for brands. It's extremely important that everybody stay informed and be prepared, so that you're not caught without prep services going into next year. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everybody who is watching. I hope you found a lot of value in this, and we will see you next time. Thank you.